It started corruption in when you cannot send your animal to where they train police officers.
No filters, no favoritism, no fear, no holds barred, unbiased, unafraid, unfiltered.
Why should
we have Mr. Kayode, the senior anchor and producer with Channels Television. The next to him is Mr. Kayode Makinde, who is Managing Director of News Central Television. Next on the other side is Mr. Shino Oladeyinde. Mr. Oladeyinde is the editor of the Sunday Tribune. Next to him is Mr. James Asukwo, who is an assignment editor with TV Continental. And then, of course, we have Mrs. Runke Hiwa Onofula, who is the Managing Director, General Manager of Dominion Television here in Ibadan. And I'm Ruben Abati from Arise News. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now, first, we would like to join others in wishing you a happy birthday. Your birthday comes up on Christmas Day, so you'll be celebrating again on Thursday. Now, you've not been having media chats. This is the 60th one. So all of a sudden, you say, okay, let's have a media chat. You must have a lot to tell the people of your state and also the country at large. But it's Christmas. It's your birthday in 2 years' time. So as a Christmas child, what special message do you have for the people of your state? Christmas time and also end of the year celebrations. Let's start with that before we begin to go into the bigger details.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abati. And then, gentlemen and lady, nice having you here at the Government House, Ibadan. Actually, the countdown to my birthday will start tomorrow. Usually I do the countdown. Once it's midnight, cut the cake, and then that's it. Just rest afterwards. So I want to use this opportunity to wish Oyo State people and Nigeria at large a Merry Christmas and a happy, joyous and rewarding year 2026 ahead of us. I've actually, in the last 6 years, I've been having media chat, but it's been localized. Usually I'll go to BCOS and then about maybe 3 to 4 times in a year, almost on a quarterly basis. But it's been low budget. Oyo State is not an oil-producing state, so so it's been low budget for us. And then people started, calling me. They will come to Ibadan and say, so you guys have done this much, you've done this, you've done this. It's almost like you light a candle and put it under the table. So I think I was convinced at some point that we must let the entire Nigeria know what is happening in Oyo State, and also they can come in and check as well. That's why I said, well, maybe for this once, let me have a medium type of budget media chat, So no big deal, really.
Naturally start with governance and your performance as governor of your state. The latest event which we just arrived at the moment was happening was the signing of the budget of economic expansion, 892 billion naira for 2026. I know that you have things, health, having security, infrastructure, agribusiness, and education. I think those are some of
IGR is about 100 billion. As when you put those together, you begin to wonder how do you plan to finance it? But in real terms, what does that mean for the people of Oyo State? Okay, the FAC is roughly now about maybe 19-20 billion monthly. So that's like 240. And then you have our IGR. It has gone up to about maybe 8 billion roughly per month. So that's another 8 times 12. That's 96, almost 100, like you mentioned. Okay, so you add that together, that's almost 340, yeah? But you have receipts, you know, from other sources. You have investment also in the state, and then we in Oyo State, we try to de-emphasize, you know, going cap in hand on a monthly basis, you know, to go to Abuja and start talking about federal allocation and, you know, things like that. So for us, from the outset, we said, look, our infrastructure will focus on our economy. So if, for instance, a road doesn't make a sense economically, we're not going to construct it, because at this point, what we are trying to do is expand our economy. Under Omitutu 2.0, we said, look, expansion of our economy will go through agribusiness, also solid minerals, tourism, and infrastructure. You've been to the circular road. The idea was, look, this circular road, give it to a concessionaire. Let them raise the money, and then recover their money over maybe 25, 30 years. But we were looking for people, you know, concessionaire, we couldn't get out. We said, okay, we have to chest it. So the first phase, we put in the resources of the state. So in the course of the year, we spent close to $200 million on the first phase, the 32-kilometer stretch. It's you've been there. It's almost completed now. We will commission it first quarter of 2026, and with that, if we get a concessionaire, we have capital receipts of almost $200 million, you know, which we can put in the budget. So budgets are estimates that, look, we hope we'll get this in, and this is how we will apply it. But in the course of the year, I remember my first year in office, I came in May 29, 2019. The budget for 2019 was prepared by the previous administration, so we had to run it to the end. We reduced it. We came out and looked at the receipt. I think the budget there was about 240 billion. We reduced it by 25%. So if you check the budget performance for Oyo State, you know, through the last 6 years, we've been at about 70-75%. So this one is not going to be any different.
Okay, very good. It's good to start from that perspective, Mr. Governor. I was looking at the data that is made available, and I'm looking especially at different websites. One of them is budget. And according to budget, the state, Oyo State, has done well in some areas. Consumption in the state, you're ranked number 4 across 35 states of the nation. and the IGR is calculated as being relatively lower than most states. And I'm wondering, is there a problem with tax collection or generation of revenue by the state? Are there challenges in that area over the last 6 years?
First, we made up our minds that we will not increase taxes on our people. No new taxes. So in the past 6 plus years, you won't have any new taxes in Oyo State. But what we've done is we've brought in people, into the tax net. It's a chicken and an egg type of situation. What do you do first? Do you, tax the people first, or do you allow them, create an enabling environment where they can expand production? When you expand production, and you have a productive economy instead of a consumptive economy, then you are in a position to tax more and raise your IGR. So that is a less traveled road, but that is the road that we as government we decided to take. And I'll tell you what we've done in the past, this year that is closing, 2025. We looked at the landscape in Nigeria. We looked at, schemes that other countries, other African countries, they've been able to take advantage of to expand their economy. And we found out that, look, let's take AGOA for instance, African Growth and Opportunity Act. What is the data for Nigeria? But countries like Mauritius, Rwanda, all of those countries, Kenya, they took advantage of AGOA. They expanded their productive base. But we were still talking about, how much is FAC and all of that. So we said no. Now, we looked at the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. There's a provision in there that you don't necessarily have to operate at the national level. The subnational, can also go out there, get their deal, get their own deals, and then fulfill it. So your state, in this entire continent of Africa, your state became the first subnational to sign the agreement as a party to. So any day you have an AFCFTA event, Oyo State will be at the table with other heads of government from other African countries. Why did we do that? We didn't want to wait for federal. We want to broaden our own productive base, and we want to be able to, under that protocol, expand our own economy and sell to other African countries.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Excellency. I want to take you back to the Circular Road project. I know that your government has invested heavily in road infrastructure. Some areas that were hitherto unlinkable, we've linked them. The Seyi Bomosho Road, the Ibadan Seyi Road, and that hub is the core agro business, the food basket for the state. Now, the Circular Road project, has been generating some
issues, yeah?
Yes, with especially about a 500 meter. You understand what is the philosophy behind it? That is number one. And then those who are claiming that they have properties there, so how far? What is the state doing, to ensure that those who have genuine claims will be adequately compensated?
Okay. The Circular Road, the concept is look, you need rapid transfer around Ibadan. You should have a road that can encircle the city, because it's a growing city. I came in on a British Airways flight, and then at the end, when we landed in Lagos, they gave us some data about the flight. I said, well, this flight flew close by Barcelona, 1.something million people. It flew past Kano, 500 and something thousand people. It flew past Ibadan to get to Lagos, 3.5 million people. So I know that we're even slightly more. But if you go around Ibadan today, there's no gridlock, the type you experience in Lagos. And we don't want that to happen, because you learn from the experience of others. The circular road corridor, the acquisition was done well before I even became a governor. It was gazetted, and in the Nigerian Tribune of November 19, 2018. And that circular road project, the idea was mooted by, maybe initially by Baba Lamadeshina, but it was brought out, as a project, and the first real attempt to execute it was made by the current Olubadan of Ibadan land, Baba Rashidi Ladoja. And that's why we named the entire 110-kilometer corridor as Rashidi Ladoja Circular Road.
Hello?
Because he set aside the first seed money. Of course, it wasn't done from records available to us. When Governor Akala came in, the priorities changed, so he would rather do, use that money for other roads. So it's not about Sheyi Makinde or this administration, grabbing people's land. But when we came in, there's been encroachment on the corridor. I said, so what do? We decided that, look, let's go on with the project. Where we can get the 500 meters on both sides, we'll take it. Where we cannot because of development, we will look at it. But for a highway like that, you have a minimum standard, that you have to maintain to the highway. And this will be the first proper motorway in Nigeria. Simply because it is in the mode of maybe M25 in London, London Orbiter. Or for people that are used to America, Houston, the Beltway 8. I mean, it goes around Houston. We know that government exists to look after the people. So most of these people, we ask them for their documents. No document. But we still did not say, okay, no document, so you must go outside and be homeless. We said, okay, look, even with no document, if you can prove, that you're the one living, in those houses, we will compensate you so that you can go elsewhere, settle in, while we develop that corridor. And the corridor is not just, people want to build estates. No, it's for industrial and commercial concerns as well. Because if you have to move from a consumptive economy to a productive one, you must have industrial corridors. Our children will have to walk somehow. They have to walk somewhere. So, and for me, it is easier to take the bullet for the incoming, the next administration, because your state people have gotten so used to me. They can vouch for me. They know what I stand for. So if I come in and say, look, this is what we're doing, they believe me. We've been able to reduce to the barest minimum the trust deficit between government and the people, at least here in your state. After I went to address the people in that corridor, then they were telling me that, look, can you sign for us that, look, successive administration will not bother us again. So you trusted me to that extent that you want me to sign for you. I said, well, I will sign for you. But when the time comes also, I will also introduce people that will not bother you, you know, and then you can be rest assured that the principle of government being a continuum, you know, will apply.
His Excellency, I noticed some visible infrastructure that you've been doing around. I noticed a good photo from Challenge down there, which is very gratifying to know. But the central thing happens to be the people. How are you ensuring that poverty is tackled in Ibadan, particularly the last 6 years that you've been governor?
Well, the way I look at it is, for me as a person and for this administration, when people tell us, oh, we've been around, no potholes, you know, I've driven on a state road almost 160 kilometers from Ibadan to Ogbomoso, there's no pothole, you know, and things. I say, yes, but I won't want to be remembered, you know, for, you know, building roads, you know, infrastructure and all that. No. We will love to be remembered for the institutions that we're creating that will ensure that there's good governance and sustainable development and growth long after we've left this place. That ring road that you mentioned just now, if I ask a lot of people who constructed the ring road, I went, you know, to search for the history of that road, and I found out that when it was constructed, it was the most expensive road per kilometer that was ever constructed in Nigeria at the time. And if you ask people who constructed that road now, I can tell you they won't know. So that is what you get. The only way they will know who maybe started a road will be if the road is not finished. If the project becomes abandoned, then they will tell you, this road was started by XYZ. Then that's it. Because I was walking within the oil patch at Kwale. So we went to Ogume, and then we saw a bridge. It wasn't, it was abandoned. And then I asked the people in that area, so, you know, what's this? That bridge was started during Ogbemudia's time. Successive government did not complete it. Then you can get credits for that. But if you start a project, you finish it, and people start using it, within a very short time, they will have forgotten. So for us in Oyo State, we believe that we're not going to give people handouts. We will create, and we've been creating that conducive environment for people to, you know, come in, have opportunities, and then they'll take themselves out of poverty. I was working working inside a Shell Bonny terminal when they were sand filling the entire Finima for Nigeria LNG project. And then all the fishermen and those people, they built decent houses for them. It didn't take 5 years before the whole place was turned into a shanty town. So the approach, and again I argue this with the World Bank, their preference is, look, have conditional cash transfer, give people money, and I said no. In Oyo State, what we did was I'd rather subsidize productive efforts of people. So we said, when we hit this economic headwind, a lot of state governments, they were bringing in palliatives. So, okay, yeah, we'll have palliatives, give food to people. What we did here was we created what we called the SAFER program. It's sustainable action for economic recovery. So our SAFER program, part of it, you have the transportation sector. Where we said, look, our Paysetter transport company, they move close to 20,000 people every day. And we said, okay, for those 20,000 people, the vulnerable ones in there, students, elderly, physically challenged, they pay discounted price, half the price. So we subsidize them with 100 million every month. But that 100 million is subsidizing productivity. You're not going to just get on the bus for a ride because it's half price. You get on the bus for a ride because you're going somewhere that is important to you, that are likely going to yield something productive, for you. So that's our approach here.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So I must commend you. Like you said, you've seen the infrastructure, and people have described your administration as with inclusivity and people-oriented. One thing I know about leadership is no matter what you do, people will have an issue. As we've seen in the case of the circular road as well, they've had to compromise a bit. My question is, how do you balance compromise and conviction? How do you determine what to go ahead with, no matter what people think, no matter what people say, and what to compromise?
Okay. I believe that, government should look after the people. And I also always tell my people that we're not the most brilliant around. We're not infallible. It's only God that cannot make mistakes. So we may take decisions that, maybe in the long run may be wrong. I told Oyo State people when I was asking for their votes that I may not be right all the time, but I will be honest all the time to the people. So if we did anything that in the end we have to adjust because new facts became available to us, we're not that proud to say, look, we won't do that. So I think that's really the way we've operated. And it has connected us more to the people because they know. I go around them, I stay with them, I listen to them. Yeah.
Okay, Your Excellency, we're going to talk about politics and power.
Okay.
Before we get to that, just as a follow-up to this, talk about infrastructure.
Yes.
Talk a lot about the circular route. But how about the airport? Why is there, attempt to upgrade the airport in I know there used to be, or there was, an existing airport. But Oyo State can take advantage of the airport in the state. It's an international
close to Ibadan. So you decided to go ahead and upgrade the one in Ibadan. Why? And then yesterday, after the presentation of the project, we were told that you had a meeting with TVC Alaafin. Transfer. What does it matter? Just briefly.
Okay. The airport in Ibadan. I know you're biased a little bit because you're from Ogun State. That's why. That's why you want us to. But Ibadan Airport has been in existence for at least 40. It was inaugurated 1982, I believe. So for at least 43 years. So your airport at Ogere, I mean, just started. So we looked at the economy of Oyo State, and we looked at elsewhere around the world. The best example I can give to you is just look at Dubai and Abu Dhabi. They are just like Lagos to Ibadan. Maybe slightly longer. I think it's about 154 kilometers. Here is 110, 112 kilometers. In fact, it's 135 kilometers from Ojo. And between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, not only 2 international airports, but you also they have Emirates in one, they have Etihad in the other, and they come into this place, and you decide, oh, okay, I'm flying Emirates, I'm flying Etihad, but you will land only 150 kilometers apart, and they are both doing well. They're both doing well. So for us here, we know people. I mentioned those sub-pillars that we felt we can use, to expand our economy. When we were given the opportunity to serve the people of Oyo State for the second tenure, we had a tourism. Yes, I've seen people say, well, you can come to Ikogusi in Ekiti State, or you can go to this and that. How do you get there? I mean, the federal roads are not that great. If you're going from Ibadan here to Ife, Ilesha, I mean, it's a very difficult journey. Okay, my friend Dave Umar, he said they are starting the concrete road, to come here. But they started from Ilesha end. I don't know when it's going to get here. It hasn't even gotten to Ife. But we felt we have been able to connect all the zones in Oyo State. We have 5 major zones. You have Ibadan, you have Oyo, you have Ogbomoso, you have Okeogun and Ibarapa. You have State Road, linking Ibadan zone to Okeogun. 65 kilometers, Moniya to Iseyin. We built it. You have, and that was the very first contract that this administration awarded, because Okeogun is the food basket of Oyo State, and Ibadan is the consumption center. So we needed that link. Then we linked Okeogun zone to Oyo zone through 37 kilometers from Iseyin to Oyo town. We also linked Okeogun to Ogbomoso zone, 78.6 kilometers from Iseyin to Ogbomoso. When we came in, it was a footpath. There was no road at all. So we constructed it brand new, 78.6. I remember when I called my chairman, the chairman of Governors Forum, to come and flag off the road for me. It looked, because we had constructed about maybe 5 or 6 kilometers before he came in to flag it up. He said, Sheyi, this is a federal project that you're doing here, because it's a solid road. And currently, we are linking Ibarapa zone to Ibadan through Ido-Erua road. So we've done all of that work. We have tourist centers, tourist attraction within Oyo State. We've done the heavy lifting by connecting all the zones in Oyo State. If we have the airport in Ibadan as a gateway, that's exactly what we.
In a world where news never sleeps, we're taking a giant leap into the future.
One of the National Assembly.
Behind
one of the National Assembly.
Behind every decision, every vote.
Some are consequential, others may leave us intrigued or baffled.
You will have no better friend.
Helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business International Film.
That's been happening with the PDP.
Well, at the federal level, Kenya was actually considered, and that bill was. I'm not moved. If you are receiving, a big visitor, this is how you do it. I said, well, and that would be my own kind of politics. So I didn't go. I stayed here. Then president, because I never dealt with them. I've never had any political budget. And I said, okay, you won't right now. Friday. There is no faction. There is no faction in PDP. Upset, I can't speak of. No. And the rest of those people were ex-Ido.
And the Euro.
Will do what is right. If you're afraid of death, 27 president. Let me make this very. Multinational oil companies to work for Shell, ExxonMobil, Chevron. To the extent that when I go on holiday to my house in Houston, ExxonMobil came to me and said, look, we want to work in your neighborhood. We have work to do in Chad and Cameroon, on the Chad-Cameroon pipeline project. I personally, I was in Kribi, where they positioned the FSO. I sent engineers to Chad. I sent engineers to Cameroon. You can't go there because you're Nigerian. No, you can only go there because professionally they have trust in you. I worked on the West African gas pipeline. ABB came to us and said, look, from Lagos, to Tema in Ghana. I was in Tema myself because when I started, during the day, I'm working as a field engineer. At night, I'm working as the general manager. I couldn't even tell people on my card then, I couldn't tell them, look, I own the company, because they look at me and say, you own which company? So I sent engineers to Equatorial Guinea. We worked on the Equatorial Guinea LNG. So all of those things were because professionally we did what was right. I could have joined politics in 1998 because I made enough money to do that. But I won't tell you I'm a foundation member of PDP. No. I joined PDP in 2002. And why did I join? I joined solely because of Baba Ladoja. I joined to support him towards the 2003 elections. I already moved my family to the US there in the year 2000. Well, okay. I had a wife and a daughter at that time. We had the second one, December of 2000. And I moved my office from Port Harcourt to Lagos. So most weekends, no family, nothing. So I come to Ibadan to meet my parents. One thing led to the other. From that place, I commissioned the classroom block that I gave to my alma mater. They brought Governor Lamadeshina, to do the commissioning at that time. And I gave him a proposal that, look, for the farm settlements here, this is a power solution. And he said, okay, look, my assistant will call you. I waited, nobody called me. So going towards 2003, I thought, look, if you look for a professional, to be elected as the governor of Oyo State, maybe things may be one shade better.
Are you running for president?
Okay, well, let me be very clear. At this point, you need to have a party. You need to have a competitive political environment. At Ebonyi, I said to the Igbo nation out there that in 1999, we were going to have a almost very similar situation that we're in today. All the generals, all the elites, they were all gravitating towards PDP. Until Ogbonnaya Onu gave up his presidential ticket in APP to have APP and AD join together, and they produce Baba Falaye and Shinkafi. And the environment became instantly competitive. So I'm not fixated on running or not running.
But if the PDP is right and well placed,
right now, if I correctly calibrate the environment, we have to go beyond its PDP. We have to channel our energy towards having a competitive political environment.
Okay.
And that means we need to talk across board. We need to start talking about survival of democracy in Nigeria. Individual ambition, it's tertiary, not even secondary.
So you're looking to bring ADC to PDP.
Everybody, we should keep talking, even with people within APC that are not happy in there. We will talk to them also. We should all keep talking on, because we run the risk of the Arab Spring. You have people without leadership. A shoemaker will be made a leader for them, and they will show us. In fact, people should write it down. What Nigerian people will show politicians and elites in 2027, we cannot imagine it right now. And when they say governors have defected and all of that, what of hunger? Where is hunger? And anger in the land, has it defected? So,
okay, Governor.
Sorry, Dr. Abati. Let me tell
take a short break.
Let me tell Kayode. You see, if we don't do what is right for democracy to survive in Nigeria, it will be, very difficult in the foreseeable future. So that's really. So the issue of are you running, are you not running, and things like that. That is it's still far off. At this stage, we must ensure a competitive political environment.
Okay, Governor, we're going to take a break shortly. And when we return, we'll be discussing security, both nationally and in the West. But before we take that break, let me ask you,
Now, with all this that you have told us about the relationship with the center, at a time when 28 state governors have already moved into the APC, some of the other ones that are not yet in the APC, we don't know what will happen tomorrow.
They're doing press of that.
And the excuse they give is that they cannot afford to isolate their state from the center, and that they are doing it for the benefit of their people. But you are saying this is where I stand. Now, have you seen any difficulties in terms of what comes to your state because of your political stance? And secondly, economic issue. I think it was James Asuko who was asking the question about what are you doing about poverty. Right. Now, many Nigerians blame the Tinubu administration for the economic issue. Are you one of them? Do you think that the APC Tinubu administration misdiagnosed the ailment?
Well, Dr. Abbas, let me just first of all make one clarification. You know, when you see governors, they say they are defecting. A classical case is the last election. Governor of Delta State, I mean, he was the vice presidential candidate of PDP, you know, a sitting governor of Delta State. Particle lost in his state. Huh? So, you're talking about elites and all of those things, governors. How about the people? What are they doing? What are they saying? What are the people? What are they telling us? So, I'm not bothered. I will still continue to say that. Now, let's deal with the issue that you've raised. What's my relationship with the center, and do I feel any impact? Well, I believe the center right now, they really think it's a game. So we played the game, and then we got into power. The game on. But I came in to Oyo State from day one as opposition. When I became governor here, President Buhari was running his second term. So I've learned to rise above partisanship, you know, to present, our case. We went to President Buhari, said, look, we want state police. And he said, well, I can't support state police because you state governors, you're not even able to pay salaries of your workers. Federal government is giving bailouts and, you know, all of that. Why should I support you? How many people that, you know, you give them guns and you won't be able to pay them? And we said, well, okay, sir. I was just maybe 4 months or so as a governor at this particular time. But from day one, when I came into office, we've always paid salaries on the 25th of every month. This is the 7th year running, and every year we pay 13th month salary. So we've gotten that template right in Oyo State. In the beginning, they said, okay, let's see them. We were there before. He won't be able to sustain it for more than a year. But we've sustained it for going to 7 years now. So if you now take our action after, you know, the president's position, we said, okay, we can't have state police, but we can have Amotekun. So we came together as governors in the Southwest, and we launched Amotekun, which was midway between, the state police that we're asking for and providing security for our people. So sometimes you won't get what you want. Like the airport in Ibadan, I gave to the president, please,
let us upgrade this. These are the things that we want to do. And he said, approved at no cost to the federal government. And I said, thank you, sir. You know, at least the approval means something to us. We can go out there and do the work. And we were grateful and thankful to him. But we went around looking for money, you know, to fix the airport because it is important to Oyo State economy. Same for federal roads. So, look, give us approval, even if you're not paying. Governor Fashola was the minister for works at that time. I went to him. It took me 2 years to get approval to fix Oyo to Iseyin. We fixed it because it was passing through our agricultural belt. People of Oyo State, they don't care. If the road is local government, is state government, is federal government, just even if it's community road, fix the road, let them go about their economic activities. So I'm not bothered about, will I cry that, because I'm in the opposition, I will engage with them on the basis of, look, do what is right for our people. At least you have voters in this state and people that are APC as well. Even if you're not doing it for Seyi Makinde or this administration, do it because of your own people as well. That is the way we've engaged with the federal government. I went to the president and I wrote to him and said, look, Oyo State, let's solve this illegal mining thing. We gave a proposal. I have it on record. The president signed and said, look, go to the Minister of Mines and let's look at the model. If we solve it in Oyo State, you can replicate it elsewhere in Nigeria. After all, during COVID, I argued at the National Economic Council when they came in, Professor Oshibajo, the VP then, and said, look, mandatorily, we must go and lock down everywhere. And I said, sir, I cannot lock down in Oyo State because I know people here that if they don't go to work today, they won't eat tonight or eat tomorrow. So where am I going to get what to feed them with? So we went back and forth, and then we agreed that, well, let it be voluntary. If you think your state has to be locked down, lock them down. And we did not lock down in Oyo State. So we gave the proposal. We went there, held meetings upon meetings with my security team, with the Minister of Mines. At the end of the day, he came out with a mines marshal. The mines marshal. I asked, please give me the law setting up this mines marshal. Till tomorrow, I haven't seen any law anywhere setting it up. Okay, how many are there, even if that is the route to go? They employed 1,000 of them for the entire country. Maybe now there are 2,000 or 3,000. I believe that, yes, we've identified what to be done. They can either work with us to do it, or they can go their own route. Usually the nature of problems is such that if you have a problem and you're able to solve it, it will go away. You move on to something else. But if you're not able to solve it, it will come back. You can either have another go at it, or it may even kill you. So I believe some of the problems that are not solved, they will come back to us. If we can't solve it now, there are still people coming behind us. Because if you go to the executive chamber here in Oyo State, you see pictures of all the people that have been head of government here, from ranking the last Governor General of Western Region, all the way to my immediate predecessor. So this is a place with a lot of history behind it. Some of them, they came in, okay, AG Baba Olowo, they came in with AG, Action Group. Then you've seen UPN, you've seen MPN, you've seen SDP, you've seen PDP, you've seen AD, you've seen AC, ACN, APC, and then PDP. So government will come and go, but our state and our country will remain. And however we lay our bed, that is how we will lie on it. So if we say we won't solve this problem now, the problem will not go away magically. And then I think the bottom line is we can do more, we can do better for the people of Nigeria. And when I was campaigning here in Oyo State, I challenge anybody, if you see a video or anything where I said to the people of Oyo State that, oh, this government, they haven't done this, you know, because of that, don't vote for them. No. We came out with a roadmap for accelerated development of Oyo State, 2019 to 2023. And we listed those things that we were going to do. And we said, look, this is what we want to do. Vote for us on the basis of this. And then if at the end of the day, we're not able to achieve that, it's in black and white, then don't give us another opportunity to serve you.
Well, His Excellency already talked about security. Amotekun State Police. You just take it from there.
Do we take a break now?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I think naturally security has been one of the biggest stories in the country. And I wonder what your take is on how the government is approaching this with the whole withdrawing police from VIPs. I imagine you've been affected as well. Maybe you had some of them caught from your entourage. Also the designation, the recent designations, the way the government is handling banditry, the kidnappings and all of that. I wonder if you are sort of removed from it because Oyo State isn't feeling the brunt as much, or it's something that worries you and you think this government can do better.
Well, we have been extremely lucky here. We've had, you know, service commanders that they see their posting here, you know, like they're being posted to their actual state of origin. So they step up to the plate. We've had the GOC, the garrison commander. They've all been very supportive. I mean, maybe today or tomorrow, they will have finished the clearance operation within the Old Oyo National Park, you know. And of course, Amotekun, I mean, is one institution that we created that Oyo State cannot do without right now. If you go around and ask people, should we scrap Amotekun? You know, they will say no. They have been, you know, cooperating and working with the federal agencies, you know, and that has kept Oyo State safe and secure, you know. I'll use this opportunity to once again say thank you to our service commanders and everyone that has, you know, supported the state. Because quite frankly, you want to build schools, you want to engage in economic activities, you can only do that if your environment is safe and secure. However, the approach of the federal government, I think they should have a rethink. And I'm not saying this because I'm in the opposition, you know, or I saw an AI-generated picture of only me holding the PDP Governors Forum meeting in the southern part of the country. So I'm not saying this because of that. I'm saying this because I really want them to genuinely look into their strategy. One is say, go ahead and employ 30,000 policemen. Go ahead and employ this much army and all of that. Is that our problem? What do we have on ground in terms of communication, in terms of technology, in terms of looking after the welfare of these new people? When we were agitating for state police, they came up and said, well, it's the same as a community policing. They employ these supernumeraries and all of that. Since they've been employed, they've not been paid. They can challenge me, at least the ones in Oyo State. I know, if not in other states. So, it has to be that synergy between, the federal government, the state, and the local government. And nobody should be proud, among those tiers of government. We should all come together. It's like in Oyo State here. Oyo State has 50 celebrations, 3rd of February next year. But it will be here, but they may not take to the sky just about that time, but they will within the first quarter of next year.
This na Cruise Express.
And this go be the best 4 hours of our life.
This na Cruise Express.
And this go be the best 4 hours of our life. Country people, make una join us.
Aww.
Country people, make una join us.
Aww.
Now we be what's up Naija crew. Now we be what's up Naija crew. Now we they give you wetin dey sup for inside we country.
Yes, so.
Now we they give you wetin dey sup for inside we country.
Yes, so.
Keep it locked. Keep it locked.
If God be your papa, why you not gonna make him?
Across continents, Nigerians are making their mark, building businesses, shaping landscape, creating impact, carrying the green, white, green with pride. But beyond these success stories lies one powerful truth. We are stronger when we connect. Join us on Diaspora Connect, a program that bridges the gap between Nigerians abroad and opportunities back home. Each episode showcases the inspiring journeys of grass to grace and the resilient spirit in the diaspora. From entrepreneurs...
1 hour plus, and we're just about to round up now. Well, before we went on break, we had talked about security. Now, Cardiac Interview, Managing Director at the sector.
Yes, on the issue of security, I know there are a number of things. The good news is that Oyo State has not been a flashpoint. It's not being an area that we've had many incidents of insecurity. So I will say give credit to the governor. But there's an area that I'm sorry I may have to go back to that I find even more important because of the people of Oyo State. And that's the area of education. You have done well in terms of infrastructure. Based on what we saw over the last 24 hours and the statistics that we looked at, you've invested in education, and that's wonderful. But in the area of quality of education, what are you planning to do in the next couple of years before you hand over to whoever becomes the next governor? And adding to that is the issue of healthcare, because these are two of the most important things to any citizen of Oyo State. Healthcare and education. In the area of healthcare, I know you've won awards as well. Primary healthcare, you've changed the infrastructure. I've looked at the statistics. It looks good on paper. But understaffing of some of those primary health care and making sure that the things that they need, little things that makes the common man able to say, I have a primary health care next door that I will get all that I want, that makes sure that the basic health care is taken care of. What are you doing over the next couple of years? Thank you.
Okay, well, we came in and we looked at the primary health care, and also, diseases and ailments that are killing our people. And we decided that, look, we must have category 3 primary health care in every electoral ward in Oyo State, 351 of them. And as of the last count, we have only 66 left that are, being worked on right now, and I believe it should be done before the middle of next year. And I don't have a lot of time left here. I have maybe 17 months or 16 months. I'm not accurate anymore. Maybe early in the new year I'll start
counting down
with my calendar again. So we've also employed healthcare workers. I mean, check the record. Oyo State, we've employed, we're training the people, we've upgraded even our Institute of Health Technology. So I believe we're going to do that. Then the French government, they were going to give a concessionary loan, on the continent of Africa, right? And they had 100 million euros, for the continent. And Oyo State got 55 million euros out of that, So we are just, we just have it signed off. It took some time. It took us almost 2 or 3 years, to get it through. It was just passed in the borrowing plan with the National Assembly now. So we're moving ahead with that. That we will use to upgrade secondary healthcare facilities, one in every zone, of Oyo State. And then in 2026 budget, we also have money set aside for the Lautech teaching hospital annex at Oyo. So I believe we're doing okay. And in terms of the amount of money relative to our total budget voted for healthcare, I think we're also doing very well in terms of international benchmark. For education, I am a product of the public school system in Oyo State. I attended St. Paul and then St. Michael's Primary School, Yemetu, not up to a kilometer from here. And then I also attended Bishop Phillips Academy, Iwo Road, Ibadan. So I turned out to what I am today. So I understand precisely what we're supposed to do. We have special intervention now going into the health sector, and education sector rather.
Shino, quickly.
Yes.
We have just
Your
a few
Excellency,
minutes.
What I'm worried about is the post-Sheyi Makinde administration. You've invested so much, built so much infrastructure. Your legacy project, about 110 kilometers, that is the circular road. How are you going to ensure that whoever is succeeding you continues these projects? Because we have, one of the terrible cultures that we have in Nigeria is, leaving projects uncompleted, white elephants everywhere. So what are you going to do to ensure that this legacy endures?
Well, we've changed the culture in Oyo State. If you see any project started by any of my predecessors that have not been